After this highly entertaining duel in the hit number 8, Duel of Americans, we will have two duels of compatriots, this time two Danes and two Englishmen. Pedersen and Harris will ride against Nielsen and Jeremy Doncaster. Let's draw the racing cards. Last time I ran out of all my racing cards, so I draw 5, my opponent gets 1. Here they are. And now time for Hans Nielsen and Jeremy Doncaster. Of course, no doubt about Hans Nielsen's card. As for Jeremy Doncaster, I will keep the stronger one for later. He will start like that. And we have Harris and Pedersen. So Harris charges forward, then he has Nielsen and Doncaster. So Danes and Englishmen are separated right now. Let's see what happens. Battle in the bend. My opponent starts, since her rider is in the lead, and she tries to move him even further forward to escape the rest of the racers, so they won't be able to overtake him if we battle in the straight. Of course, I don't want to let that happen, so I will try to respond with very similar effect. This effect, however, will leave Nicky Pedersen far behind. My opponent responds again with the same color, trying to use the overtaking maneuver, which will allow her to overtake my opponent in the bend. In this case, this will be Nicky Pedersen, as Harris cannot overtake anybody. I'm happy to see that, since now I can continue this exchange in the bend with 5-1. If this effect holds, my opponent my opponent passes, and my riders move into first two places. It's 5-1 for me. I want this hit to finish right now. It doesn't. Harris can charge Doncaster. So we have first duel of Englishmen in this hit. I will try to use very powerful defending card, to no avail, as Harris chose the only lane which wasn't blocked. He advances before Doncaster. My opponent gets free racing card, and now it's time for Pedersen to do the same and to charge Doncaster. Again, powerful defending card, and this time it did work. Doncaster managed to hold off this attack. I get a racing card, and we have another battle in the bend. In this situation, my rider is leading, and as you can see, I have only one color, so this is no-brainer for me. I must start, because if I pass the initiative to my opponent, she will start with some other color, and I will have nothing to respond to that. I will try to use this card so that Nielsen can go forward and leave all the others far behind, but my opponent goes for the fall. This effect will put one of my riders in danger of falling. Of course, I don't want to let that happen. This is my last card, luckily of the sandy brown color. I replace my opponent's card, and if this effect holds, I'm waiting for my opponent. Pass, and it does hold. I get free racing card, luckily, and we move onto the battle in the bend in the next lap. We don't draw the lap card. So again, this is battle in the bend, and I'm left with this last effect. I may start or pass the initiative to my opponent. This effect will not change anything. However, I don't want to pass the initiative to my opponent, since she can have some more powerful effects. That's why I use it, and my opponent responds with the same effect, which will ultimately turn the situation upside down, because now I have no cards to respond. Harris moves on to the first place, then Nielsen, then Pedersen, then Doncaster, and again in this duel of compatriots we had pretty exciting heat, which finished 4-2 for the home team. After 3 successive victories by my opponents, they are leading by 6 points, and in the next heat we will again have duel of Americans. Again, Hancock will battle Ermolenko. That's payback time for Ermolenko after the last unsuccessful hit by him. And alongside Hancock will have Holder and Shira with Ermolenko. Let's take the racing cards. I used up all of them in the previous heat, so I get 5. My opponent 2. And in this case there are 2 last cards, rider cards from me, so it's no brainer actually. Doesn't look like payback time for Ermolenko. My opponent has the last 2 cards as well, and let's see. We have Holder first, then Hancock, then Shira, and then Ermolenko. We ride into the first lap and it's battle in the straight. So first Shira tries to charge Greg Hancock with my strongest attack. Lane A wasn't blocked. Shira moves forward along lane A. I get free racing card, and now Ermolenko against Hancock. Let's go along lane B this time. Very powerful block by Hancock, but unsuccessful. Ermolenko has chosen this only lane which wasn't blocked, moved forward, and we have 3-3 after first straight. We ride into the second lap, and again it's battle in the straight. So this time Shira can advance even further by overtaking Holder, let's say with this, using this lane D. Holder blocked Shira, so this time the attack was unsuccessful. Free racing card for my opponent, and now my opponent can try to charge Ermolenko. Hancock is trying to charge Ermolenko. Ermolenko is defending lanes B and C, and this time Ermolenko wins. I get free racing card. We continue with the race, and it's finish line. 3-3. This time Ermolenko defeats Hancock. I'm still 6 points behind after 10 heats, and in the 11th heat we will again have chance to see Pedersen riding against Hans Nielsen. Apart from that we will have Jonsson and Armando Castagna. We are drawing the racing cards. 10 heats have finished, so again the rider cards come back into our hands, and we will be using them until the end of the entire match. So Nielsen and Castagna. This will be Nielsen. This time maybe a bit stronger by Castagna. I will try to take my opponent by surprise. Let's see. Pedersen and Jonsson. So I did take my opponent by surprise. I'm hoping for quick finish to this heat. However, there is only one card left, one finish line left in this first lap deck, and we have battle in the band. So I'm leading, so I will start by trying to, well, finish this heat, waiting for my opponent's response. And this is battle in the straight in the next lap, and free racing card for my opponent. I might let that happen, however I have only, well, I might cause fall in my opponent. but I will try to keep that for later and allow this race to continue. My opponent gets free racing card. We have battle in the straight, and now everything's up to Castagna. Johnson is attacking him, and I hope I will be able to hold off this attack, as it will be very important. I'm blocking lanes A and D, and yes, Castagna is successful. A very important role to play in this heat, and this is free racing card for me. We ride into the third lap. Again, this is battle in the straight, and I have no defending cards, unfortunately. I'm waiting for my opponent's attack.
Pass.
And it seems that my opponent has run out of her attacking cards. I know where they are. So, fourth lap, and we have battle in the bend. I may start, since Hans Nielsen is leading, Nicky Pedersen is far behind, and this time I think I will pass the initiative. No, I think I have those green color cards, so I will try to make my opponent fall.
Pass.
My opponent passes. This is interesting situation, as I choose my opponent who will be in danger of falling, and now this card is always dependent on the next lap card that we draw. In this case there are no lap cards left, so we assume that this fifth lap card is finish line. In case of fall and finish line, the rider falls. It doesn't matter anyway, but just for the storyline, we see that Nicky Pedersen was charging too strongly and he didn't manage to stay on his bike. End of heat number 11. Despite pretty spectacular showing by Nielsen and Castagna in the previous heat, my team is still trailing by 2 points. And in the heat number 12, we will have Golob and Harris against Nielsen and Doncaster. Let's draw the racing cars. Again, we used up all deck, all the cards. So let's see. Nielsen and Doncaster, not the strongest riders in my team, although I won't use the weakest card here. Golob and Harris move on to the 5-1 lead. Nielsen and Doncaster are trailing, and we have battle in the straight. So well, good situation in case of attacking. Now let's hope for successful attack so I can continue later with those cards I have. And Nielsen is attacking Golob, and the attack is extremely successful and extremely lucky, since I've chosen the only free path, another attacking card, and this time it's Doncaster who is again charging Golob, and I will try to move along the same lane, as Golob is definitely not defending it. So Doncaster moves before Golob, I get free racing card, and second lap. Very lucky for me. It's 3-3, despite the fact that my opponent has started very strong. First straight, everything happened in the first straight. End of heat number 12.